Welcome to the Flora Sage Podcast, a place where we help you create a life you're excited about. Welcome to another episode. I am pumped that you're here. Thank you for taking the time out of your day to tune into what I have to share with you. This is part 1 of 2 for this particular topic. This first part is going to explain this topic, the concept, and I'm going to give you an exercise at the end to prove that this concept actually works. And then in part 2, which is next week's episode, I'll share with you my results of this experiment that I'm going to share with you at the end, as well as multiple examples and case histories and case studies of people that have used this particular thing to change their life. So I hope you enjoy what I'm about to share with you. Today, we are going to talk about the concept and the practice of the effortless way. And this was most infamously brought to us by the one and only Neville Goddard. So Neville Goddard's work has changed my life. And this concept of the effortless way is essentially the art of bringing things into your life without getting burnt out, without working yourself to the point of exhaustion, and without kind of roaming around aimlessly wondering if what you're doing is going to result in what you ultimately want. Now, if you're not familiar with him, Neville Goddard is known as an American mystic. And like I said, he's one of my all-time favorite authors, and he is one of my all-time favorite metaphysical teachers. He lived from 1905 to 1972, and he gained massive amounts of popularity in the 50s and truly was one of the pioneers of this type of work. In his book, The Power of Awareness, he talks about the concept of getting what you want by assuming the feeling of your wish fulfilled. Now, one of the ways that he teaches how to do this is through the effortless way, which embodies the principle of least action. Least action governs everything in physics, from the path of a planet to the path of a pulse of light. Now, he says in this book, and I quote, "Least action is the minimum of energy multiplied by the minimum time. Therefore, in moving from your present state," that's where you are, "to the state desired," which is where you want to be, you must use the minimum of energy and take the shortest possible time. Your journey from one state of consciousness to another is a psychological one. So, to make the journey, you must simply employ the psychological equivalent of least action, and that psychological equivalent is assumption. It works by means of attention minus effort. Assumptions determine your experience, and assumptions have the power of objective realization. End quote. All right, so let's break this down. What is the proper definition of an assumption? I looked it up. It's a noun. The first definition is a thing that is accepted as true or as certain to happen without proof. The second definition is the action of taking on power or responsibility. This is huge. This is so huge. So what would it feel like to accept something as true or certain to happen without proof of it in your life? When you assume the feeling of already having something in your life, you truly become a different person. So what if you already had what you want? And this is something that I share in my book. I've talked about here multiple times on the podcast. this is the ultimate 1 degree shift hack. It's like, okay, where are you and where do you want to go? Like, what do you want? So when you know what you want, then those right tiny actions just fall in your lap. So think about one thing that you want right now. Just one thing, okay? I'll give you just a few seconds to think about what it is that you truly want. Now, do you have that fixed in your mind? Okay, so now let's say in 5 minutes that thing comes into your life. It's yours, you have it, it's done, it's a done deal. How would you act? How would you feel? What would you be thinking? How would you show up on any given day from here on out? Now that that thing is in your life, now that you have that thing that you wanted for so long, how would you respond to life? So I polled some of my clients and they said that they would feel happier, they would feel more confident, they would feel less stressed, less anxious. And the thing is that most people are trying to force things into being and say, well, if I only had XYZ, then I could relax, then I could be happy. And they work harder and longer thinking that that is going to get them what they want. So the longer that they work, the harder that they work, the more that they just toil and sweat, that they're going to finally get what they want. But we all know someone who just breezes through life and they just kind of get things. And it seems like things just kind of fall in their lap. And we're like, well, what? So how can we feel happy and confident and less anxious and less stress and let things just kind of fall into our lap? By using the least amount of effort. And how can we hold the assumption that what we desired is ours and done and complete in order to get what we want? This is through the power of the imagination and observation. So the assumption is the what. The imagination is the how. Because a lot of people know what to do. Well, yeah, I'll just embody that. Okay, I'll just assume that yada yada. But how? Like a lot of people want to know the steps. And that's what the Effortless Way gives us. It literally gives us the steps on how to bring those things into our life. Albert Einstein once said, "Imagination is everything. It is the preview of life's coming attractions. The true sign of intelligence is not knowledge, but imagination. Imagination is more important than knowledge. Knowledge is limited. Imagination encircles the world. Logic will get you from A to B. Imagination will take you everywhere. Everywhere. They've actually done studies, and I'm sure most of you have heard this, but they've done studies of top athletes who visualize and imagine themselves performing at their optimal level. And it's proven that it's just as effective as actually physically practicing their craft. Now, during these studies, they monitor parts of the brain that are activated during the physical act of performing their sport. And the cool thing is that the same parts of the brain light up during the time that they're doing their visualization, just as it does when they're performing the physical act. So your brain can't tell the difference between actually doing the activity versus visualizing it or imagining it. What is it that you want? Okay, are you able to get into that state of it already being done? Like this is key. Like, what do you want? And half the time, like this is a question that just plagues so many people. What do you want? What do you want? What do you truly want? And a lot of people get like these big grandiose things, and then they get tripped up because it feels so big. So if that is the case for you, where you feel like this big thing is just going to be just like huge, let's scale back and think of something smaller. When you think of that thing that you desire, are you able to get into that state of that thing already being done? And if not, again, I want you to go into this exercise that I'm getting ready to share with you with an open heart, with an open mind. And that's going to help you assume the feeling of that wish fulfilled. So I'm going to share this exercise with you to prove this theory so that you can see the results for yourself. So this is an exercise that Neville himself gave to his students on the very first night and said, and I quote, "Only those that complete this will be able to come back to study with me." It's called the ladder exercise. The ladder exercise. I want you to imagine a ladder in front of you. Steady, sturdy, and secure. Fix this ladder in your mind right in front of you. Some people visualize with your eyes closed. Some people visualize better with their eyes open. Whatever you do, just there you go. Picture this ladder right in front of you, okay? Now, I want you to imagine that you reach up with your left hand and hold one of the rungs of the ladder. Feel it in your hand, visualize it in your brain. Feel that sensation of your hand on the ladder, okay? Now, the next thing, bring your right hand up and grab the ladder just above, or the rung just above where your left hand's holding it. So you've got your right hand on the ladder, your left hand on the ladder, and they're both holding the ladder. Now, visualizing the ladder in front of you, and you feel the rungs in your hand, I want you to start visualizing yourself climbing the ladder. So start to climb the ladder. You visualize yourself moving up, one step at a time, moving your hands up each rung, putting your feet up on each rung. You've moved your hands and feet up the ladder. Go up several rungs and really visualize it, feel it, live that. Over the next 3 nights, after you lay down to go to sleep, but before you fall asleep, I want you to visualize and see yourself climbing this ladder, okay? Climb the ladder, climb the ladder. Then during the day, for the next 3 days, say to yourself, and as often as you can remember, I will not climb a ladder. I will not climb a ladder. I will not climb a ladder. And why do we do this? It's kind of counterintuitive. Well, why am I visualizing myself climbing a ladder, and then why am I saying I'm not going to climb a ladder? Doing this exercise is going to demonstrate that visualization is far more powerful than any affirmation that you say out loud. Every single time I do this, I end up climbing a ladder. And it's always typically on the first or second day when I do this. And I've never gone 3 full days for a ladder for me to climb to manifest. Try this exercise, and when you experience the ladder climb, message me and let me know. I'm on Facebook. I am on YouTube. I am on TikTok. I am on Instagram. And you can email me, flora@florasage.com. Let me know it worked for you, okay? Next week, I'm going to share with you my ladder climbing stories. And I'm also going to share with you how I used this information without actually knowing it way back in the day to manifest a car, a college education, and a whole host of other things. I didn't know what I was doing until afterwards, and I was like, oh my gosh, like when I read The Effortless Way, I realized that that's how I was manifesting all these other things in my life. And I was like, oh my God, this like actually works. This is crazy. So try this exercise. I will see you back here next week. Again, I'm going to share with you how I got the car, the college scholarship. Also, I have linked in the show notes Neville's books. If you're interested in them, they will truly change your life. There is some there are some controversial things in some of them. which I think is awesome because he was like, you know what, this is how it is. And those who challenged actually saw what he was teaching come to pass. They saw the fruits of their labors, if you will. They tried the exercises trying to debunk him, and it never worked, which is really, really exciting. So remember, all it takes is a clear vision of what you want and the willingness to take one small 1-degree shift in the direction that you want daily to get a life that you love. I hope this serves you today, and I will see you in the next episode. Thank you for listening to today's podcast episode. All links mentioned are in today's show notes.